Hello all, good evening. So welcome to today's index analysis. So let's get started. First, starting with the end of the day data. So there is a discrepancy between the end of the day data between two sources which we generally refer. So when you look at stocks factor end of the day data, you have that you have the FI position showing index futures going long, buying calls, buying puts as well as buying stock futures. But when you look at the data provided by the Twitter handle, which I referred. So you can find here that this data is very bearish. You can see that the index futures has been sold a massive quantity by FIIs, and they've also sold calls again bearish. Also they've sold some puts, some minor quantity of puts. So this is only bullish thing in the data, except these two factors are very bearish. And look at the prop desk data. Prop desk also has done a similar thing. You can ignore the stock futures quantity which has been bought, but they've sold calls again which is bearish, and they've also sold puts which is also bearish. So uh, lastly, if we combine FIs and prop desk, you get a slight bearish bias in mind, except that this put sold, this is giving a bullish bias. So generally, when FIs sell uh, both calls and puts, we must give importance to both the data because the market can move in both the directions. And coming to the clients perspective, you can see that the clients are very bullish across. They have bought futures, they have also bought calls, and they have also sold puts. So net if you see, the clients are very much bullish. So it's highly unlikely that the market will move only in the bullish direction because of the data. So we can have a bearish bias in mind with both ways action because of the sold put positions from the FIs. So this was of the about the end of the data. Coming to the price. So let us start with the price analysis. So this was Nifty's position yesterday. Yeah, let me just So this is about Nifty's position yesterday. For first, let me let me remove today's price action first. So when you remove today's price action, you find that this is the swing. This is the earlier swing. Like this is the major direction which the Nifty is in. This is the recent direction. I mean, so the major direction is still in the uptrend, but for the current swing. So the major swing is up. For the current swing, Nifty has done such a action. So the current swing is a bit on the correction mode, a negative swing. The overall direction is still up. So now when you try to apply the Fibonacci ratios for the upswing, so you find or you come to one conclusion that the price is taking a support at the crucial 50% zone. So this is what I mentioned in the morning also, that the price is taking something like it's doing an action something like this where it is almost taking support. You can tell around between the 0.5 to golden ratio zone. So now this is one way of looking at the price, that from the overall context, this is the situation that it's taking good support at the 0.68. So until unless the price breaks the 0.618 level, it is still in the bullish territory, what we can get as an overall bias. But since the recent bias is negative, there's one more way of looking at it, is just using the Fibo tool for the recent swing high to swing low. So when you do this, you find that the price in the recent swing is first it came towards this zone, it again bounced, got rejected from the 0.5 level, and it again retested this. So it's almost the situation is like this. Now price can either continue this direction or take support here and again go back. Now this would this scenario would become bullish I mean, this correction you can say is over only when you come to a conclusion that the price this kind of double bottom kind of setup, it crosses the 61% level, right? When it should at least cross the 61% level, maybe if retest and can go up. This is one of the scenarios which I shared in the morning also. So this can be one way in which this correction can get over. So now when you look at today's opening, so price perfectly opened at let me replay today's action. So this is first candle price clearly rejected. It got rejected from the an earlier rejection zone, right? So this was very much evident. The shorting trade was very much because it got rejected earlier also from the 0.5 zone. So today also it got rejected from the 0.5. So it was almost a double confirmation here. This is simple from the price analysis, but from the order flow, you come to know that here you have limit sellers from almost 2 days. This level has been guarded by the limit sellers. So today also at the opening, you could spot this limit sellers at the same level. So it was a good shorting opportunity till this target which I openly shared, and I took that trade also. So now continuing with the price action, what if you see price, then what the price did. This is very interesting. Let me first clear all this. It is very interesting to see here that the price is almost kind of being a double bottom kind of setup, where you see it took support, it took rejection, it got rejected, and it is starting to go up. So this is roughly you can come to this thing. It's almost like a double bottom or a W pattern, or whatever we can call it. So this is what the price is trying to do. So this is a bullish thing. Now it can become extremely bullish when it crosses this significant first level resistance, because that is the point where the price got rejected earlier. So this zone price has to cross for it to become even more in the bullish territory, because we know that here there is selling pressure. So accordingly, market faced resistance again at the 0.618 zone, and it ultimately closed in between. You can see 0.5 and around this zone basically. So the overall from the price perspective, this support is at least held for now, and the price closing almost towards the highs is maybe a bullish point, but still the resistance is still there. That is one point, and the support is also there. So overall, the price is in a very narrow range, is what we can tell. From maybe Wednesday, from Wednesday, second half, since the price took support there, Wednesday second half, yesterday expiry day, and even today. So the price is in a very narrow range. So till the price doesn't come out of this narrow range, the price action would remain choppy around this zone. So a break above the zone, I think the target is on till this swing, and a break below the zone also the target is on till this swing. So it is very clear now from the price perspective what it can probably do. So this was about the price logic. So knowing where to place the short trade that is here, and where to place the long trade will be very crucial in such a range bound situation, and never trade in between. That's around the VWAP zones. So this was about Nifty. Coming to Bank Nifty. So when you look at Bank Nifty's chart, let me remove today's price action. So Bank Nifty has also done a similar thing, except that it is not as steep as Nifty. So when you look at the overall swing of Bank Nifty, you come to the conclusion that Bank Nifty is taking support at the 50% zone. So this is what the price action roughly looks like in bank, somewhere something like this. So it takes support from 0.5 to 0.6 on. So till it is above this golden ratio, it is definitely in a very bullish territory. But for now, it is just correction phase. So when you play through the action, so Bank Nifty opening itself took support at 0.5. So it has not gone below this 0.5 zone, meaning that it is maybe even stronger than Nifty. And then in the second candle, it took support from the same level. it took support from this same 0.5 0.5 percentage, and it went high. But the issue is, just like Nifty, there is limit sellers at this level. That's where it got rejected. So Bank Nifty also faced a resistance at the same zone. So if I continue the price action, you can see that at the same level it got rejected. The price got rejected. So clearly confirming that there is just by seeing the chart, you'll not come to know. But the conclusion is the same, that there are limit sellers at this area, right? So I mean, and there is also support for Bank Nifty around zero through some limit buying, which is already visible through order flow. So a plain chart will not come to know, but we must infer, since we have this correlation from order flow and price chart, we can infer that there is support from the limit buyers at these zones. So continuing with it, so ultimately you can see that the price, let me clear this. So you can see that the price just closed around this one. So price is still maybe took a double bottom kind of support, and then it again tried to go up, but it could not face resistance, and it is still closing at some higher, somewhere here. So this is about situation of Bank Nifty. So Bank Nifty is not bearish, at least in my opinion, until at least breaks this 0.618 as a support. So if Bank Nifty goes below this 0.618, then at least we can think of any minor bearish tinge for this swing at least. I mean, I'm talking about this swing. If it breaks 0.618, the probability of it to come back to swing low increases. But obviously there is one more support zone here, that's 0.786. You should also keep that in mind. And but if it sustains above this and maybe does good price action and it bounces, then it is definitely heading towards the swing high. So this probability is also high, considering that the US debt ceiling limit is that issue is almost sorted out. So this was about the price action pattern of both Nifty as well as Bank Nifty. Coming to the order flow. Now, looking at the order flow, there are certain things which were kind of evident from the order flow. First, let me start with Nifty. So as we see this zone, 18600 zone, we were discussing from past many days about this being resistance, 18660 zones, where you could see some limit selling getting activated here. Yesterday also there was a limit selling at this level. The price closed lower, and then you could see some more at the same zone here day before yesterday. So overall, this zone is controlled by proper limit selling, hence acting as a resistance. So even today, if you see in the opening candle itself, you could see a good limit selling condition getting triggered. You see on the ask, there is huge quantities at the higher level, POCs at the high. This is not this can be interpreted as a limit selling zone. Price is not able to sustain above it, and again confirmation through a higher point of control. This is again a point of control. This is a volume point of control, and this is also a normal point of control. So the POC shifts downward and the price heads downward. But till how much level the price can go? For that, again, we could see that yesterday also the price bounced from these zones, because this zone acted as a solid limit buying zone in the previous days. You could see the same prints visible even today. The price just bounced from the same zone. Again, a good imbalanced print, again confirming the limit buying condition, and these orders were distributed actually across two time frames. This is the first 15 minutes. So overall in this 30 minutes, there was proper solid support built for Nifty in this region through a limit buying. So that's why I mentioned in the thumbnail also that limit buyers and limit sellers were in control of this range. So and then the price clearly bounced. You could see again this good delta being red, and the candle is green. So good buying around the VWAP zone, again confirming that the price is at least for now not falling. And then you could see some good up move also. This could also be some good standard minor scalps which can be taken, but this was a good zone to enter long because of the 50% retracement support also. Right, this was because there's a confluence of both Fibo 50% zone and the limit buying zone. So going long from here had a very good risk reward ratio. Is what I mentioned in one of the comments also today. And ultimately, as the price goes higher, you can see the facing resistance again, confirming the presence of bias. Here there was an attempt, and also you could connect this trend line. I just connected this trend line also, which worked fantastically during the intraday. Let me show this. So this trend line, you can see this was the first touch point and second touch point around this zone. So treat this as a zone. This was almost the third touch point, a fourth touch point, and this was the fifth touch point of this trend line. And finally, in the sixth, roughly, it broke this trend line. So this was also a trend line break, bearish trade, considering the limit selling zone. So this was also a standard, you can say order flow, not order flow, simple price action trade also, because this was a trend line break. So you can see once it broke the trend line, I could get a good momentum towards the downside. But since it was a very small range, and that support is very close by, price is not falling much, and also you could see these prints, coming here. You can see that the big orders. I mean, 69K plateau with an imbalance. 43K, more than 100K worth of land bank orders here, and also it is spread across, very well here, and the price, closes above POC. So price, closing above POC in both the candles again confirms that the, low is done. At least this price is not going further, below. So this is one understanding from the order flow, and then price I think close somewhere in this range. So overall, the price was pretty much range bound till here, and even you can also see here that when the price started to go higher, you could see how the big orders started to come here. 163, K delta is a big massive delta, and if you just have to see where this delta is coming from, this is the 60K here, and this is 100K. So 163K is roughly coming from these two orders, and definitely this coming at the resistance zone. You must come to one broad idea that who can these players be? Because when buying happens, it will not happen in such a way. So it will happen something like this. And first limit buying positions are made, and then through aggressive buying like this, aggressive buying prints, the price is taken up. But this is not aggressive buying. This is limit selling. And it can also be a case of fake breakout, where people just mark the levels and they don't see, and they jump into the long trade. So this is also a case of fake breakout where retailers are generally trapped, and you can also see again confirmation of this print also. And this line which I have drawn is also the resistance from the previous days. So that is why knowing the levels is very much crucial. If you just go back and see the previous days highs, the reason for me marking that, the reason for me to mark those lines was because of this candle. So this candles, it was this candles high, where the price initially fell. So let me clear this. Yeah, so that's the point where I mark the high, and you can also confirm that there is further selling at that level, that too with the imbalance, and price is not able to close above this line. So it clearly is a fake breakout because of this, and then the price and it doesn't take much time to reverse, and it also breaks this trend line. So this is a simple price action, and this logic, one could have traded the short trade, but this short trade is very short because of the shorter range. So it's up to one's own scalping ability to handle such trades. But overall, this was about Nifty. Coming to Bank Nifty, Bank Nifty also had a similar thing playing out, except that Bank Nifty also had another trend line, which was, I've marked this trend line, if you can see from yesterday's around 115 candle, this trend line is pretty much active, and exactly Bank Nifty gave a breakout here. So just mark these trend lines so that it will be useful. So this was just a small breakout, but the resistance since is here from the previous day's highs. It's very clear. So the, this was one trend line, a breakdown, and then looking at the other things, Bank Nifty was in sync with Nifty because you could see the price was closing below the POC in the first candle itself, and you could see that all these orders are probably limit buying orders, because here also you can see the limit selling orders, and it's also combined by some aggressive selling orders also, because as the price goes down you could see the delta also increasing. So this is, the price is not able to close above the POC in both the candles. This is a very strong hint to short Bank Nifty at this level, but Bank Nifty's levels were not clear as Nifty. That's why I went for Nifty short vis-a-vis Bank Nifty. And this trend line started to become activated. You could see here that the price here starts to close above the POC. This was one big order around this zone. But anyway, it was not falling much, what these two candles indicated. Even from price action perspective, also these were two dojis in a 15-minute time frame, again indicating that probably the low is made, and this trend line also started to show as a support, and then price went higher again. It started to face resistance around the same point of control. But when you see, it was slightly compressing for this trend line. It got rejected first here. This trend line gave us support, and then finally you could see a minor breakout of this trend line. But this is just a small breakout because there is true resistance is here in terms of the limit selling, which took place from the earlier days, right? So this was just a small breakout, but one could have traded this breakout also, considering the order flows, because you have good aggressive buying orders here. There is a aggressive market buy order, and but the price as it goes and close to resistance, it starts to face resistance, and you could see the delta reducing as it goes higher, again showing the lack of buying interest at the higher levels, and ultimately the price reversed. And one thing what we can clearly spot is, as the price headed down, the delta increased. So again confirming that it is the sellers who are in control. You can see here that the as the candle went down, the delta increased. So good. This is how aggressive selling takes place. As it goes down, just closely observe this. As it goes down, the delta print increases. So this is how you can confirm this as aggressive sellers, because from 10K goes to 14K and 10K, right? So this is how aggressive selling is done. And but post this, you can see again the price is back to the same support area, and the price close, closes above the volume point of control, closes above this point of control, and it ultimately closes in the same zone. Just like Nifty, it closes around the same zone. So overall price was pretty much in a very range bound fashion, knowing knowing the levels, and placing trades was very crucial in such range bound days. And if you enter in between, definitely chances of whipsaws are high. So that's why knowing the levels, support and resistance is very much crucial in such a day. And then coming to the open interest, looking at the overall Nifty's open interest, one thing what is for sure is you can see that the sellers are in control, because there's both call writing as well as put writing, and this is an equal quantity. So right, you can see both call writing and put writing, the number being same, and these were the two towers. So when you look at these two towers, you can see this is a long put wall 18500, and this is 18600 call wall. So clearly saying that the price is just hovering around this resistance from the OI. So OI is also clearly telling that the price is in a very a small range. And looking at the overall chain, the PCR is very neutral as of now. So you can see that around the ATM, it's pretty much neutral. Doesn't give any strong bias in either direction. So PCR is also 0.8, it's neutral. Coming to Bank Nifty, Bank Nifty almost, yeah, it's also almost same. You can see the almost puts to calls, just 3 lakh more of puts being written, but yeah, it is just, you can say it is same sellers being control in both the in call as well as put. The sellers were in control, successfully keeping the market in a tight range. And looking at the overall chain from the Bank Nifty looks a bit skewed towards 44,000 is acting as a strong, 44,000 is acting as a strong resistance as of now. This is a single call wall, with supports getting added. But if this call wall is taken out, I think the price can straightly head swiftly head at the higher levels. Maybe the upcoming week has a big event in terms of RBI's MPC meeting, probably on June 6th. So that might be the day for a big move. Need to watch out for that day closely. But overall, maybe till that day, the market can remain probably in a range. So anyway, this is about the OI. Nothing much to add on the OI front. It was a very range bound day with sellers in control. Yeah, that's it. Overall, hope this analysis was helpful. Thank you.